Hello everyone, welcome to data driven testing using Excel part 2. In first session I have explained you what is Excel and how to read the data from Excel file using jxl.jar file and how to read the specific cell values and how to parameterize the values into the application. In today's session we will see how to handle multiple rows, that means how to read the multiple rows of the data, how to read the multiple columns of the data, and also we will see how to work with multiple rows as well as the columns of Excel. And also I'll explain you some real-time scenarios which I faced in different interviews, guys. So first let's start with multiple rows. Assume that we have an Excel file which contains multiple rows of the data. See, let me open one Excel file. So as we discussed in the last session, guys, so jxl.jar file supports only .xls format. Even if you have latest version of Excel file, better you can save as that file with the .xls format. So this is my XLS file, so which contains multiple rows of the data. One column we have a multiple rows. Now I would like to write a program to connect to this Excel file and read the data from multiple rows. So before reading the multiple rows of the data, first as usual we need to connect to the Excel file. Let me give the quick overview, guys. Last class also I explained you how to connect to the Excel. First we need to identify the location of Excel. We need to, second one is what? We need to open the identified Excel. Then we need to open the sheet in a opened Excel. Then we need to identify the cell based on the column number and row number, and also read the data from identified cell. All these steps, if you have any clarification on these points, guys, you can refer the previous session video, so you'll get a clear picture. I don't want to repeat it again here. Quickly I'll write the code to connect to the Excel and read the data from Excel from multiple rows. First one, first we are importing one class called file input stream to identify the location of the Excel file. See, file underscore object equals to new file input stream, and provide the path of the file. So where is the path of the file? So we need to take the path here with double slashes, guys. See, this is the Excel file we are working now. So properties, take the properties here, security, and take the complete path of the Excel file here. And I'm giving it as a path with the double slashes, guys. So last video we discussed all these things. Okay, so coming to the next one, once you identify the location of Excel, we need to open the identified Excel. So that we can do it with the help of, okay, workbook. So by importing workbook, do you remember, guys, workbook underscore object equals to workbook dot get workbook of what is that file object, whichever the file you identified, that file object we are giving. So what will happen if you run these two lines of the code? First, by using file input stream, it will identify the location of the Excel, then it will open the identified Excel file. So once you open the Excel file, we need to open the sheet from the opened Excel file. How to open the sheet? So by using the reference called sheet, okay, sheet underscore reference equals to, what is that? Workbook object dot get sheet of sheet name. So what is the sheet name in my Excel file? Let me confirm. What is the sheet name? Sheet 1. So I'm just giving the sheet 1. Here, if you know the sheet number, you need to select the get sheet of int argument and provide the sheet numbers. As we discussed in the last session, like sheet numbers indexes starts from 0. So once you open the sheet, now my requirement is what? I have multiple rows in a sheet. So I would like to read all the row values from the Excel file. So before reading the data from multiple rows, first we need to count the number of rows. So how to count the number of rows? So where is rows available? Rows are available in a sheet. So what is the reference I created for sheet? Sheet reference. So how to count the number of rows? Simple, guys. Sheet reference dot get rows. There is a one method called get rows. So get rows method return type is what? Integer. Yes, it's true. Number of rows it returns. So how many values are there? That many rows it returns, guys. So get rows here, I'm storing into int rc, row count equals to, just meaningful variable I created. Int rc equals to sheet reference dot get rows. So here I'll just give the quick commenting, guys, here for better understanding. What is that? Counting number of rows counting number of rows. So once we count the number of rows, I don't know how many rows are there. I just count them. Once you count the number of rows, you need to run your program for that many times. How many rows are available in a sheet? That many times you need to run your code. So how to run the code for that many times? By using the for loop. So what next here? Int I initialized one variable. What next? For I equals to 0, because RC also is RC is also having what? RC. Okay, I RC. What next one? Okay, I equals to 0 because it is starting from 0. Next one, I less than RC, I less than RC, I plus plus, I plus plus. Then next one, see, system dot out dot println sheet reference, sheet underscore reference dot get the cell of. So here column and row. So column number will be what? Same, 0 only. But row number is keep on changing. So what is the row number I'm giving? I. So I. So what is the meaning of this? From the sheet, get the cell. Which is cell? First time execution, first column, first row. I value becomes what? 0 first time execution. Second time execution, what is I value? 1. That means what? First column, second row. First column, third row. How many times this loop will execute? Until the number of rows completed. Okay. So dot what next? Once we identify the cell, dot get contents. Dot get contents. That's all. This is how we are reading the data from multiple rows in a Excel. Let's run this code, guys. So before running this code, let me save this Excel file and run this code. When you run this, we have some issues here, guys. 1 second. Just run it. When you run it, see, so all the rows data is reading here. So Kishore Kumar, Selenium, everything we are reading the data from multiple rows in a Excel file. Understand everyone, guys? So what I did here, first as usual, this code is common, guys. For every time, this code is common. What is that? Identify the location of Excel, open the identified Excel file, then open the sheet from the opened Excel file. What next, guys? We need to count the number of rows first. How many rows of the data available? That rows we are counting in a sheet. And how many rows are there? That many times we need to run the code. And every time we are parameterizing the I value, guys. 0 comma I means first time execution, 0 comma 0. Second time execution, 0 comma 1, 0 comma 2. So how many rows are there? That many times it will execute. Same type of script, same type of code we required for columns as well. Let me start with another example, guys. See, I have another Excel file which contains multiple columns of the data. So what is that, Kishore? See, simple here. We have a multiple columns here. Okay, multiple columns we have here. What are the multiple columns we have? Just see, open this Excel file. You can see we have single row, but multiple columns we have. So we need to read the data from multiple columns. How to read the data from multiple columns here? First, we need to just change the okay Excel file name. After that, once you open the sheet, the code is common. Once we open the sheet, we need to count the number of columns. How to count the number of columns, guys? Sheet underscore reference dot, what is that? Get columns, get columns, get columns. So again, same integer data type here. I'm just giving int cc equals to column count equals to, I'm just mentioning the commenting, guys. What is that? Counting number of columns, counting number of columns. So once you count the number of columns, how can we read the data from multiple columns, guys? So as usual, we need to apply I for int I for I equals to 0, I less than cc, I plus plus, I plus plus. What next? System dot out dot println here, sheet reference dot get cell of, here columns are changing. Row number will be same, 0 only, but columns are changing. That is the reason I comma 0. So I comma 0 means first time execution is what? I comma 0 means what? 0 comma 0. Second time execution 1 comma 0, 2 comma 0. Column numbers are changing, row numbers remain same. Next one is what? Dot get contents. dot get contents. Let's run this code, guys. When you run this code, see, it is reading the data from all the columns in a Excel file. This is how we are reading the data from multiple rows and multiple columns. But Kishore, if I have an Excel file which contains multiple rows as well as the columns both, what to do? So I'll give you one example, guys. See, so there is a one Excel file over here, rows and columns, which contains rows and columns. So this is my Excel file which contains some number of rows as well as the columns. Now I would like to read the data from all these rows and columns. What to do? For reading the data from rows and columns, okay, first we need to count the number of rows and the number of columns as usual. So till now we read the data from multiple rows. So we count the number of rows. When we are reading the data from multiple columns, we count the number of columns. But now we are going to read the data from multiple rows and columns. So we need to count both. How to count rows and columns here? Simple. Int cc equals to sheet reference dot get columns. First I'm counting the columns, guys. I'm just counting the columns here. Next one, int rc equals to sheet reference dot, what is that? Get rows. Sheet reference dot get rows. So I count the number of rows and columns. Now we need to apply loop. So if you are reading the data from only rows, we are using for loop. If you are reading the data from only columns, we use the for loop. But here, Kishore, I want to read the data from multiple rows as well as the columns. For that, we need to apply nested for loop. So I hope you remember, guys, in the Java, when we are talking about looping statements, I have explained you about the nested for loop. In nested for loop, we are inserting one loop inside the another loop. Execution starts from the main loop, and from main loop, it goes to sub loop. Sub loop, all the iterations it will complete. Then only it will come back to main loop. This is called as nested for loop. So this is the right place to implement nested for loop, guys. So to read the data from multiple rows as well as the columns from Excel file, we have to apply nested for loop. So how to apply nested for loop here, guys? Simple, see. So int I, then next one is what? Int j. Then see, for I equals to 0, I less than cc. First we'll start with columns, guys. I less than cc, I plus plus. Inside this for loop, we are implementing another for loop for rows. For j equals to 0, j less than rc, row count, j plus plus. That means what? How many columns are there? That many times it will execute. And how many rows are there? That many times it will execute, guys. And here inside it, system.out.println, sheet reference dot get cell of I comma j. What is the meaning of I comma j? Okay, column number and row number, guys. So first time execution, what is the output, guys? First time execution, what is that? I value will be 0 and j value also 0. First time execution 0 comma 0. Second time execution, I value is 0 only, but j value becomes 1 because execution starts from main loop. From main loop, it goes to sub loop. Once sub loop, all the iterations completed, then only it will go back to main loop. So what is output here? 0, 0. Second time execution 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. Once j loop, all the iterations completed, then it will go back to main loop, guys, I loop. So how it will execute? See, let's run this code. When you run this, see, run as Java application. It won't execute. Why? Because I forgot to give the dot get contents method. I forgot to use here. So now let's run it, guys. You can read complete data from Excel file from multiple rows as well as the multiple columns. This is how we are working on multiple rows, multiple columns, and multiple rows as well as the columns, guys. So let me give you some quick examples, guys. See, I faced this question recently in one interview as well. See the question, guys. My requirement is, I have a huge data of Excel, huge data in Excel. I have huge data in Excel, guys. I don't know, like 1,000 rows and 1,000 columns of Excel we have, which contains huge data. So in this Excel file, in one cell, there is a one value. What is the value we have in a cell? Suppose one cell contains value called Kishore. One cell contains the value called Kishore. I don't know in which cell Kishore is available. So I would like you to print in which cell Kishore is available. I hope you understand the requirement, guys. Same question I faced in recent one interview, guys. So what is the question here? So I have a huge data in Excel file. In that, one cell contains Kishore. So I would like to print in which cell Kishore is available. So how to print in which cell Kishore is available? First, I created one Excel file. So in one cell, we have a Kishore. I don't know in which cell it is. Now I would like to check the condition. How to check the condition, guys? See, first, once we loop it inside the loop, instead of printing the all values, what I'm doing, guys, first see, sheet reference dot get cell of, first get the I comma j. So first column, first row value, once we read it, dot get the contents. Once we read the data, that data you can store it into, one variable. What is that? String cell value equals to. So I'm storing into one string. So first what it will do, it will take this data and store it into string. So once it store it into string, we need to check the condition. How to apply condition here? How to check the condition here? Simple. If cell value, sorry guys, if what is that, guys? Cell value, if cell value dot equals, I hope you remember, guys, in string functions we discussed equals function. Equals function return type is what? Boolean. It returns true or false. So understand, guys. So equals cell value dot equals, what is that? Equals Kishore. If cell value dot equals Kishore equals to true, what next? System dot out dot println I plus, what is that? Hyphen plus j. What is that? I don't want to print value. I want to print only cell number, cell position I would like to print. So whichever the cell contains Kishore, that cell position I want to print. I plus j means what? If I apply I plus j, what will happen, guys? It will be adding I value and j value. So why? Because plus will be acting it as an addition for integers. But that's what I added one string to concatenate, guys. I plus hyphen plus j. So hyphen is the string here. So plus symbol will be acting it as a concatenation. Let's run this code here, guys. When you run this code, 4 hyphen 8. What is the 4, guys? 4 is the column name. 8 is the row number. 4 8 means what? See, fifth column. 4 8 means what? It is a fifth column because index starts from 0, guys. 4 means 0 1 2 3 4. So number wise it is 5. 8 means what? It is the ninth row. Okay, fifth column, ninth row, there is a one value Kishore. So in that cell Kishore value is there. This is how we are checking the conditions with the help of the string functions and the conditional statements and looping statements in a Excel file, guys. Understand everyone, guys? So for reading the data from Excel file from multiple rows and columns, first we need to count them and loop them. Inside the loop, we can give the condition. Here I applied if condition. Do you remember what is if condition? It will check the condition and print the output only when the condition is true. If the condition is false, I don't want to print the cell number. Only whichever the cell contains Kishore, that cell position only you can print it. Other cells I don't want to print. So not only equals, guys, we can check multiple, any number of conditions here. See another requirement I have. So count the number of rows and columns, and I would like to print only the cells which starts with the K. In whichever the cell value starts with the K, that cells only I want to print. So like this, all the string functions we can apply over here, and we can perform the validations and we can print the required cells from Excel file. This is how we are working on multiple rows and multiple columns and multiple rows as well as the columns of Excel file using jxl.jar file. In the next sessions, I'll explain you how to write the data into Excel file. So far we used Excel file only for passing the data, only for reading the data. In the next sessions, I'll explain you how to write the data into Excel file using jxl.jar file. So once we complete it, we'll discuss about the poi.jar file, how to read the data using poi.jar file and how to write the data using poi.jar files, that we'll see in the next sessions of training, guys. So I hope you understand, guys. As usual, If you have any clarifications, you can message me or you can send me in comments. I'll give you the reply with the proper solution, guys, quickly. So that's all for today's video, and I hope you understand this. And let me know, again, I'm telling you, let me know if you have any clarifications or issues. Thank you for watching, guys. QShow Technologies. And again, next video we'll see about the we'll discuss about the writing the data into Excel file. So thank you for watching QShow Technologies.